In today's video, we're going to talk about the anxious-avoidant trap. This is going to help you understand one reason you might find yourself falling into the same habits and having the same problems in relationship after relationship. And importantly, how to change that pattern. Now, before we get into that, I just want to give you a heads up on some of the important new content we have coming up. If you're unhappy in your relationship, feeling taken for granted, unsure how to get a guy you like to notice you, or just want to take your relationship skills to the next level, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We have a ton of really great videos coming up where we're going to help you solve all these problems and loads more. I really want you to have the kind of relationship you deserve, so don't miss out and press subscribe now. Anyway, back to today's topic, which is the anxious-avoidant trap. We're going to start by looking at what the anxious-avoidant trap is, why it's so common, and how you can identify it. Finally, we'll talk through some of the things that you can do to make sure that your relationship goes differently this time. Now, before you can really understand the anxious-avoidant trap, you'll need a little bit of background about attachment theory. We're going to keep it really brief here. We have loads more details about the different attachment styles and what they mean in our other videos. So do go out and check those out if that's something that interests you or if that's going to be helpful. Now, your attachment style comes from the things you learned about as a young child about how the world works and about what you can expect from the people who care about you. There are 4 different attachment styles, but the anxious-avoidant trap only covers 2 of these: anxious attachment and avoidant attachment. Both anxious and avoidant attachments are types of insecure attachment, which means that you learned that sometimes the people around you couldn't be trusted to meet all of your needs. People with an anxious attachment style learned that they had to work hard to get their caregivers to take care of them, maybe by crying or clinging to people. Someone with an avoidant attachment style learned that other people wouldn't meet their needs, and so they pulled away and worked on meeting their own needs instead. As you can see, although both groups have an insecure attachment style, they have opposite ways of dealing with the world. People with an anxious attachment style try to pull people closer, while those with an avoidant attachment style are going to try and push them further away. The anxious-avoidant trap is the name given to the way that people with either of these attachment styles will regularly find themselves in relationships with someone who has the opposite style. So if you have an anxious attachment style, you might find yourself in relationship after relationship with avoidantly attached people, and vice versa. Now, you might think that these 2 groups are each other's worst nightmares, but actually, they're a little bit like catnip to each other, at least in the short term. In the long term, you can find yourself in a series of doomed relationships that destroy your self-esteem and leave you feeling as though there's something deeply wrong with you, which isn't true. So why are anxious and avoidant attachment styles so attractive to each other? Well, the first thing to know is that we're not usually attracted to people who are good for us. It's not that we're turned off by them. It's just not something we tend to notice. Instead, we're attracted to people who feel familiar. If we have an anxious attachment style, it's because we learned that the people who are important to us will ignore us if they possibly can. We might want someone who responds quickly to our emotions, but we're actually attracted to someone who fulfills our expectations. Even when we know it's unhealthy, we still feel safe with someone who behaves in ways we've experienced before because we know what to expect. The same is true of someone who has an avoidant attachment style. If we have an avoidant attachment style, we feel as though other people are constantly suffocating us and demanding our time and our attention and our emotional energy. It all feels too much, so we break off our relationship, only to find ourselves having the exact same problem with our next partner and the one after that. It's also worth saying that people with anxious attachment styles and those with an avoidant attachment style can seem like a great match in the early stages of the relationship. This is often because they each make different assumptions about what something means. Because they misinterpret each other's behavior, they feel confident that their needs are actually going to be met this time. Now, let's give you an example. Someone with an anxious attachment style wants to share everything about themselves really early into the relationship. They're super into that. They're trying to open up and show their true inner self to their partner and form a connection. So when their partner listens attentively, asks questions, and doesn't try to move the conversation back onto themselves, someone with an anxious attachment style feels safe and listened to and important. They interpret it as a sign that they're in a deep, meaningful relationship where you can both share everything. Unfortunately, the situation can look very different to their partner. The person with an avoidant attachment style is happy that their partner's doing all the sharing. They're happy to keep the focus of the conversation on the other person. They feel safe and respected because they're not being asked to open up. They believe that the other person has recognized that they're quite private and that their partner is showing that they're willing to respect their boundaries. Both sides think that they found the perfect partner who instinctively understands their needs. But that's only going to last for so long. Eventually, something will happen that shatters that illusion. And this leads to the vicious cycle that is the main feature of the anxious-avoidant trap. Now, when someone with an avoidant attachment style feels pressured by their partner, their instinctive reaction is to pull away. They might stop replying to calls, texts, even emails. They might stop sharing information about themselves, avoid public displays of affection, or start to make excuses not to spend time with their partner. Now, their anxious-attached partner is hypervigilant for this kind of pulling away, and they react in the opposite way. They start calling more, wanting to spend more time together, and making more public displays of affection. They might even start buying extravagant gifts to try to win their partner's love back. As you can see, this is a cycle that isn't going to go anywhere good. So what can you do to fix the situation? As we've already said, the biggest problem in an anxious-avoidant trap is that both sides are making assumptions about what the other means by the things that they do. The best antidote to assumptions is honest and open communication. It's scary, I'm not denying that, but it's the single most powerful thing you can do. Secondly, you can work on your self-reflection. Self-reflection and understanding your own attachment style helps you see the patterns in your own behavior and how they might look to your partner. You also need to be generous and make allowances. If you and your partner have fallen into the anxious-avoidant trap, you're going to have to work together and make compromises to try to find your way back out again. If you've taken the time to understand your own attachment style, you'll hopefully be able to notice times when your attachment behaviors are kicking in, talking to your partner about what you need at that point, and listening to their needs will help you find a solution that might not be perfect for either of you, but that you can both live with. It's also worth having a big support network. Both people in an anxious-avoidant trap relationship can benefit from having a wide support network. If you're the anxiously attached person, you can have lots of close friends who can give you time, attention, reassurance, and safety. This means that your partner is not carrying the sole burden of helping you feel safe and secure. If you're the avoidantly attached partner, having a wide social network can help you keep a sense of your own independence and individuality. Spending time with other people can stop you feeling suffocated and let you feel secure that your boundaries are being respected. It's also worth considering working with a therapist. Attachment issues can be deep-rooted and hard to change. It's not especially surprising, given that they date all the way back to childhood. Working with a really good therapist can help you deal with some of the things you learned about the world from back then and unpick some of the subconscious childhood pain you've probably been carrying around with you. Now, the anxious-avoidant trap is a really difficult place to find yourself, and it is easy to feel like you're doomed to repeat it over and over. I hope this video has helped you to see that there is an alternative, and you really can move on and have healthy, happy relationships that fulfill all of your needs. If it has helped you to understand your relationship better, do make sure that you like and subscribe. We've got loads more topics planned to help you fix all the problems in your relationship. So what are your thoughts of the anxious-avoidant trap? Does it explain some of the problems in your past relationships? Which side do you fall on? Do you have any other ideas? Please do let me know in the comments. I love hearing from you. That's about it for the anxious-avoidant trap, but I'll speak to you again soon.